morning. I was hoping to do an unboxing video from the factory of this gun, which is a Breda B12i, but the gun that was in the box I sold. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to do a box in that's been unboxed and then put back in the box. But there you go, it's one of the things. So what we got today is we've got, as I said, a Breda B12i. This one's a little bit more unusual because this is a camouflage version. Now, as most people that know me will know, I absolutely love a bit of camouflage. That's why I got my top on today. So it would have been nice, Paul, to have done this video last week, because last week is when I've done all the research on it. So if we open the box up and we'll have a look quickly on what's in the box, and then we'll get the gun out and we'll talk a little bit about the gun. So if you want to bring the camera over here, Paul, over here, that is almost how it comes from the factory, other than the fact that I've taken it out and put it back in. Now, with the Bredas, they're a new gun to me. They've been around a very long time. I thought it was just another remake of a inertia driven design. There's quite a lot of them out there. Obviously you've got the Bonelli, you've got the Franchi, you've got the Stoga, and what's new now, Paul, is you've got one called a Rarity. So, not a lot in the box, not a lot of frills. Let's just have a look at the chokes quickly, Paul. Have a look at the chokes quickly. So, we've got steel shot, proofed chokes there. We've got one choke in the gun.
Yep. And
like most guns that you're going to find, probably we're going to have an improved cylinder, a quarter, a half, a 3/4 and a full. We can get them out and have a look at them, but you can see they're there, yeah.
That's it.
All right. We've got a nice metal choke key here, which some of the manufacturers are going down the plastic route nowadays, which I don't like, to be honest with you. We've got some Uncle Mike's sling studs for a sling, quick and easy. And we've got a few, by the look of it, Paul, we've got a few shims. Few or just one there? No, 2 shims to adjust. Cast on, cast off, and drop at heel, drop at toe, bits and pieces like that.
So that will be pretty straight coming out of the box with it, and then you
might
add that
have a little
in.
bit of right hand cast on it. We might have a look, you might see it, you might not. Basically, Paul, the reason that I'm showing this gun was a customer pointed this gun out to me on Instagram. So I rang the UK importer, which would be Viking Arms, and they said to me, unfortunately, Tim, that gun was a sample gun. It was just to sort of test market research, and there isn't any. So we managed to convince Viking Arms, or Viking Arms managed to convince Breda Italy that we need this gun. Now, as you can see, this is in a digital camouflage. Now, this one differs a little bit in its digital camouflage, Paul. Let me get it around the right way. It differs a bit in its digital camouflage in the fact that it's not applied in the traditional way in a hydra dipping process. So this is done with cerakote, all right? So each one of these, I've had 3 of these in the shop. This is the last one at the moment. This has been applied in a different way. So each layer, each colour has been painted on, and then a piece has been laid over the top, and then a new colour has been put on, as you can see. I think it looks very nice, to be honest with you. And the fact that they vary quite a bit. So, if I grab the gun out, we'll put the box down, and then we'll talk about. Now, I have been doing a little bit of research on it, Paul, and we will point out some of the things that make this Breda B12i an individual gun, okay? Traditional 4-in nut off, 4-in slides off, and with most of your inertia driven designs, we put the 4-end on the barrel, here like this, clip it in, and then we slide the magazine tube into the 4-end, give it a little wiggle, Job done. 4-in nut on, Pouring that on. Nick it up tight. And we're there. Little button for the bolt release or the bolt hold open. Little button. Now, one of the things, Paul, is going off subject a little bit. With the 4-in nut on semi-automatics, after a day's shooting, I suggest that you half a turn, tighten it right up, half a turn, just back the 4-in nut off, half a turn, okay? What the gun will do is the gun will expand and contract with the heat, and the tendency to keep tightening and tightening and tightening the 4-in nut up, and when the gun cools down, it will almost lock solid. Alright, so as I say, when you get back from a day shooting, just wind it off half a turn. So, let's just have a look at the gun, Paul. And
yeah, something a bit different, something I've not seen on the UK market before, the digital camo like that.
There isn't any. There isn't. There is a few, the Americans get a few digital camos, but I personally think that looks very, very nice.
Yeah.
Just, if you run your fingers over that, Paul, can you feel where some of the surfaces are proud?
Yeah.
Literally where it's been applied. You will see that there is a few rough edges here.
Yep.
A few rough edges here. Over here there's a few rough edges. Some people would hate that. I think it makes a gun individual and it looks very, very nice. Now, it's got a soft touch coating. If you feel that, it's not your standard rough synthetic.
No, it's like a rubberised coating, is it?
Rubberised coating. If it was on a Browning, they would call it a soft or a Duratouch. You've got a nice recoil pad that's on it, which is detachable by hand. You've also got a comb, a soft comb on it, basically.
Is that soft?
Yeah.
It just looks a slightly different colour in the video.
It actually is a piece laid in there on its own. It's not as soft as, say, a Benelli would be, but it still is softer than standard.
Yeah.
Now, the big thing, and I am going to butcher it a little bit, I am not a 3-gun competition or a practical competition guy, but this is what this gun was developed for, Paul. You've got an oversized bolt handle on this one, which I believe you can change for a few different types. So an oversized bolt handle. You've got an oversized bolt release, or a charging handle as some people call it. You've got an oversized ejection port, which has been taken from here, basically.
Yeah.
The top has been opened up. You also, this piece at the back of the ejection port has been chamfered, rounded. Normally it would come off square here.
Right.
But apparently when you're loading this gun very fast, you can start to catch yourself on the original one. So this gun has been optimised for speed loading. All right. Also, one of the big things that I think looks quite nice, I think it's very brave, to be honest with you, is the size of the loading port. Can you see how much that's been cut away?
Oh yeah.
Now, I'm just going to put the bolt forward on this one, Paul. I'm going to let it dump, I don't mind. Can you see the size of the port there?
Oh yeah, it's massive, isn't it?
Yeah. Now, that is for double loading or quad loading, speed loading, whatever you want to call it. I personally think that does make that a lot easier to load, even if you was just sitting in a pigeon hide. But also,
I mean, I've never done that speed loading for practical. A couple of videos I've watched, the guns haven't got that cut out, and they run their hand right across it. Is that going to make it harder to do that with the cut out, because they won't be able to run their hand straight across the top?
Well, on the videos I was watching, Paul, some of the competition boys don't think this is opened up enough. So they'll take a little bit off the front here, they'll take a little bit off the side there. I think more than anything, Paul, that's just to make the gun their own, really.
Yeah.
But also you've got here on the trigger guard, this, if you look at a standard Breda B12i, this isn't quite as shaped. So that is designed for putting your cartridge or your 2 cartridges, one here, one there, and pushing it in. Now, this here, this S in a box,
Yep.
that will denote something. But I had a look on Breda's website and I couldn't find out exactly what it was. I'm sure somebody will find out what it is. But we're here, we're just showing you what we've got and what comes in. So let's open the bolt back up again. And as I say, Paul, particularly brave that.
Yeah.
Opening the port up that much, particularly brave. You've also got a stepped rib on this one, Paul. Very much like a Benelli or a Frenchie. You've got a rifled slug sight. Now it's not graduated. Some you have which are graduated, i.e. you'll have 2 or 3 for different ranges. I would assume this will be zeroed in for probably 20, 30 yards, something like that. You have got a windage on it, and it is on this one, right to the left or right to the right, I can't remember. Now, this particular gun, Paul, is in FAC.
Yeah.
For 3 gun competitions. I have managed to order 3 or 4 of these in 3-shot, so you can put them on a standard shotgun certificate. Exactly the same gun with the cerakote, with the colour, B12i with the ejection port or the loaded port, ejection port, oversized charging handle, because I think that will be a very, very nice gun sitting in a pigeon hide.
Yeah.
Going from pillar to post, the top of the action on this one, Paul, is drilled and tapped for a ghost sight. There is a particular word for it, but again, I can't remember. Or a weaver rail if you want to run a red dot sight.
Yep.
It does come with it. These guns were not rushed out of the factory, but unfortunately it was forgotten from the Italians and they are on their way. The 3 or 4 I've ordered, I haven't had this. Whether they'll come drilled and tapped, I don't know. You've also got, going back to the rib, Paul, this is, I believe, an 11mm. It's more like a sporting rib.
Yeah.
Okay. Doesn't mean a lot. Just means your sighting picture is a little bit wider. Some people like narrow, some people like wide. You've also got a red fibre optic bead on this one, Paul.
There we are.
Now, one of the things, because I've been lucky enough to have the Benelli and this gun alongside each other in the rack, to me, Paul, this gun feels a little bit more robust than the Benelli.
Yeah.
When I say that, the actual gun itself is identical to the Benelli. It varies ever so slightly when I was doing the research, Paul. Inside here, the recoil spring,
Yeah.
the tube the recoil spring sits in, I think is either an 8mm instead of a 10, or it's a 10mm instead of a 12, something like that. And you've got a slight, without taking the barrel off, I'm not going to show you, but inside the chamber, the chamber's here, inside the action, at the back of the chamber, it varies ever so slightly. It's a very clever way of Beretta. You can't chop and change the bits from a cheap gun to a dear one. All right. Now, when I say it feels a little bit more robust, there's a few things that are on the Benelli that I feel are a little bit gimmicky. All right. The Breda here doesn't have them. Now, I'm not trying to be the be-all and end-all expert on this Breda B12i, because believe me, there's a lot of 3-gun competition boys in America that run rings around me on this. What I'm trying to show you is the fact that we are looking for the rare and the unusual, and this gun in its digital camouflage was a factory custom. Some people may love it, some people may hate it. I personally think it looks very nice.
So was it a demo gun for the UK or just a demo gun worldwide to show?
Apparently it was on their Instagram, a picture, and the customer came in and showed me a picture on his phone, and I rang Viking Arms. I watched another video with, is it called Rack and Load? Something like that, Rack and Load. He went to the Northern Shooting Show, I believe, and Breda were there with their factory sample one that the pictures were taken of. So it is to show the camouflage one, Paul, really.
Yeah. So at the time of this video, we were the only ones in the UK with it.
That's what the guys at Viking Arms told me. The 3 that we had were the only 3 outside the factory. So there was only 4 made, 1 in the factory and the 3 we've got here. And as I say, I've got 3 or 4 more coming of them in 3-shot. This is in FAC, so you need a Section 1 firearm certificate for it. And, Paul, I have got the other one. So let's just put them alongside each other. Can you see how they vary?
Yeah, the camo's different on them.
Here and here, here, on the barrel.
So you won't ever get.
You're not going
to get them the same. Always look different.
Hand done, Paul. Hand done. And anybody that watches these videos knows I love a bit of hand done. All right.